Imagine you're at a Halloween party with all your friends, and someone suggests to play 7 Minutes in Hell. And they explain, it's like 7 Minutes of Heaven, except that you're in a closet by yourself in the dark. And it's spooky, and you're supposed to get scared, and everyone's supposed to laugh, and you're supposed to come out and have a good time. So you're the first one to go up, and you get into the closet, and they close the door, everyone's laughing, hee hee, and then it's dark, it smells dank, and you can just hear your heart beating, and you can hear your breath going, and that's all you have for 7 minutes. So you think enough time has gone by, you're like, okay guys, I'm ready to come out, but to no answer. Guys, I'm ready to come out, and then no answer. So you go to open the door, but the door's locked, and then you really start to get scared. So your friends aren't answering, you don't know if they're on the other side, and you crouch down, and you start to get really scared. This nightmare is like solitary confinement that we have in the prison systems. Today, I will explain why solitary confinement units should be abolished in the prison systems, with some problems, causes, and unique solutions I have for you. The first problem that happens is people's mental health is not being looked after. So according to SPLC, on October 16, 2017, the ADOC, which is a state prison in Alabama, recorded that their solitary confinement units were matching with their suicide rate going up, and had no intention to mention this to anyone. And just how sad that is to know that they can know this information and not change their system at all. And as well, according to Dr. Shalvia, with the source book of solitary confinement in 2008, discussed as well other major problems with the solitary confinement unit and mental health problems that came from ex-convicts coming out of these cells, such as, but not limited to, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, anger and easy irritation, as well as panic attacks. And how these were not in the patients before, but only after they left solitary confinement, after so many years of torture. Second problem that arises is re-entering society and how hard it is for these people to go back to their normal day lives when they're so used to lack of human interaction. From annual revenue, June 22nd, 2018, a psychologist talked about how they had a patient who was losing lack of sleep because they were unused to sleeping in their own bed, and they would prefer to sleep in the bathroom, specifically the cold tub, because it was what they were used to. And how hard that is to imagine to readjust to life that way. Upfront, according to Upfront, October 10th, 2012, the inmates that they were interviewing said they had they were scared of human interaction, and that ranges from social anxiety to not wanting to leave their house. And again, just how difficult this PTSD is to deal with coming from these solitary units. Now that I discussed some problems, go into causes of this. Number one cause is for why systems would do this, and it's the ideal, or the idea that they have that the solitary confinement units are like timeouts, when they are most definitely not. According to Prison Policy Initiative on December 8th, 2020, having a discussion with the heads of these prison systems, they described that the reason they do solitary confinement units is because it's to stop violence and stop gang activity from happening inside the walls. Not only is this data not backed up, but there's actually data to disprove this from Wired of July 18th, 2013, that a separate prison took away their confined units, and actually less violence occurred in it the following week, with a very cause and effect sort of relationship. A second cause that is why prisons would do this is for their inmates to learn to respect the law. Again, it doesn't really help because according to Yale Law on March 10th of 2016, 5.4% of prisoners spend 6+ years in solitary confinement. So this is more than 6 years. They had more than 6 years to learn to do what they wanted them to do. And obviously that's not helping them learn in any way. As well as, according to Applied Psychology, Opus, in 2012, many of the people coming out of the solid confined units had very mimicked systems of PTSD, and how hard that is to deal with from having a traumatic experience. And now that I talked about some problems and some causes of this, some unique solutions that I have today are to get rid of the solitary confinement unit. Just not have it in the system anymore. The whole reason of the prison is to keep the people in there. That's punishment enough. And solution 2 is have more recreational activities that make people talk and create friends and bonds. Just having that connection with somebody else in the prison is a really great thing to have for people in the prisons. So today I tried to persuade you that prisons should be abolished. Solitary confinement units should be abolished in prisons. I showed you the problems with them and some causes for why they have them and unique solutions to counteract them. So hopefully prisons don't do timeouts anymore, but instead try to better their prisoners by bettering themselves.